cutting up some sweet peppers. These are going to go in my salsa. Now for my recipe, it takes 2 sweet peppers. I like to use some yellow ones, some green ones. Since my tomatoes are red, I like to use different color peppers just to make it look more colorful. It takes about 16 tomatoes. You can peel them. I use Roma tomatoes, so I don't mind the skins, so I leave the skins on. It saves me a step. I also use 2 onions. If they're really big onions, you could probably get away with just 1. If you don't want a lot of onions, if you like a lot, you can add the 2. We also put in 2 hot peppers. We have some jalapenos and a few other different varieties from our garden that we put a few in. That takes about 2 of those. Then you add some salt and pepper, and I can tell you what else goes in there in a minute. But just chop, chop, chop. Okay, the recipe calls for 2 hot peppers, so I'm just putting some jalapenos in. Just be careful not to touch the seeds with your skin, and if you do, wash your hands and don't rub your eyes. So, 2 fresh jalapenos from the garden. Okay, we need basil for our salsa, so I'm taking a few leaves off of our basil plant, which is on our deck in our green stock planter. Okay, this is cilantro. It takes 2 tablespoons of cilantro and 1 tablespoon of fresh basil. So I'm just gonna be lazy and just chop it up with my knife like this. You could use like a food chopper or, you know, kitchen shears, but I've even used the pizza cutter before to chop it up, but the knife is here, the cilantro is here. So 2 tablespoons into the pot. Smells good. All right, 4 teaspoons of salt. I eyeball it. And 1 teaspoon of pepper. Let's put that in there. And the next thing is you're going to need about 6 cloves of garlic. So we'll break up a head of garlic here. And if you have a nice garlic press, I mean, you could use your other kitchen tools and smash it, but I have a really nice garlic press here. This makes life easier. Just stick a couple cloves in at a time. And then goes the garlic. Just pull out the skin. Alright, so since you need something to give it the acidity it needs to can, we're going to use lemon juice. It takes about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to eyeball that too, because I'm the queen of eyeballing it. And then it also takes about a ½ cup of vinegar. If it doesn't look like enough liquid, this is white distilled vinegar. That's what I use. So we're going to pour about, it takes a ½ cup. I use a little bit more because I probably put more tomatoes in there than the recipe called for. But whatever looks good, you just need to have some of the juices in there so it's covered with liquid in the jars. Let's stir all that up. You can also add a teaspoon of cayenne pepper if you want. I probably won't, but you can. And that's all you gotta do. Then you're gonna heat it up so it's hot. You don't want to boil it or cook it down or anything. You just want to cook it enough to get it hot. And then turn the stove off, and then you can put it in your hot jars. Okay, now that the salsa is all warmed up, you don't want to cook it too long, but it's hot enough to put in the jars. You're gonna scoop it into the hot canning jar. I keep them filled with hot water in the sink until I'm ready to can them. You want to fill it to about 1/4 inch from the top, and I have this nice little measuring top here, so it tells me where it's at. Try to get enough fluid in there so all the veggies are covered. Tap it down. If you do get too much in, you can just scoop a little bit back out, like with a spoon. you need to. I keep the seals hot in the sink. And the lids, put them on, and then you're gonna move this over into the canner. Okay, so I have my pint jars in my canner. I have 7 in here. What you want to do is you want to lower it into the water and make sure the water is covering your jars about a ½ inch to an inch. So I'm going to lower that into the water. If you need to add more water, you can go ahead and do that. You're going to put the lid on, and once you hear that it's boiling, mine's almost there. It's almost boiling, like a rapid boil. Then you need to put your timer on for 45 minutes. And then when the 45 minutes is up, I'll show you what to do. All right, so the timer's almost done. We're gonna turn that off. Turn off the stove, because it's a boiling. So what you do is take the lid off. And you're gonna it's super duper hot, so you're gonna pull it out, set the rack up on the top. Now I did about 15 pints here, and then I did about 4 quart jars. So you can let them sit in there for a few minutes, but I usually like to take mine out pretty quickly. Remember, they're hot, so if you have one of these nifty canning tools, it's probably a good idea. So you're gonna put them on the counter. Move some of these over. These ones are almost cool. Once they start cooling, you should sometimes hear a pop, and that's just the lid sealing. These ones, if you touch them, the lids are all down, so they're all sealed. So put them on the counter, let them cool down, and once they're cool, you can label the tops, and you're all set to go. One more. There we go. Got some nice canned salsa.